So hey there guys, Ishak from SHAQTALKS here, long time no see. We're bringing you another Shaq Talks podcast. Today's topic of discussion is regarding the Huawei incident that we all know about, the ban that was imposed recently. I believe they have a 90-day window at the moment. On today's podcast to discuss these topics, we have Mr. Jesse, Keenan, Ryan, and Waseem today, newcomer to the podcast. Yeah, very special guest here, Waseem. He's come from a long way to join us on this podcast. And today, the topic is on the Huawei incident. So, really looking at, they have a 90 days to somehow formulate a plan or try and
work. Yeah,
make their business work. Make the brand still grow. Of course, you've heard that Android's planning on cutting their ties with them. Google services are cutting their ties with them. I want to put it out there. Do you think Huawei can get out of this and continue to grow internationally? Of course, we know that it works in China. They have their own operating system there. But in the world, do you think it can actually still prosper and grow? I don't know. I'll put that out there. Keenan, what do you think of that? Do you think they can still grow in the international market?
Well, if the OS isn't shit, sure, but I don't know. People are more know more about Android and shit. It just works.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tell you what, over time, right? People have gotten more accustomed to stock Google.
Yeah.
And they don't want to go away from that, where everything a company is doing is getting closer to stock Google. And I think that if Huawei can kind of emulate that, they'll be in a good position. But if they go way away trying to make their own thing happen, I don't see it being successful.
Oh,
I mean,
well, that's a great point.
Companies do put their own stuff on the OSs, I guess, like Samsung.
TouchWiz is disgusting.
I mean, yeah, you look at other smartphones like Windows Phone or BlackBerry OS.
RIP Windows Phone.
I mean, BlackBerry OS is still popular with business people. People want real security, I guess.
BlackBerry doesn't make phones anymore, dude.
I mean,
do they not?
They do.
No, they're done in the smartphone market.
They made a phone recently, didn't they? At the start of at the start of this year.
No.
I read a whole report on BlackBerry a month ago, dude.
Really? I remember seeing a thing that came
Fake
out.
news. They released it 6 months ago and then it failed.
The last phone was in 2017. BlackBerry is now a security company.
Oh,
I mean, their OS was focused on security. I guess that makes sense.
I guess business security and whatnot, but
I mean,
the phones don't do too well.
One of the things that Huawei is boasting about their new OS is that it's going to be more faster and snappier than Android.
The thing is, how much faster and snappier can it get really at this point?
It's because stock Android is, or whatever Google.
Yeah.
Really.
But
already really
how many
quick.
phones are using stock Android? A lot, unless you're buying a Pixel or it's
well, it doesn't have to be completely stock.
But very close to it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a OnePlus 6 that's close enough to stock as it can get, and I'm,
Yeah.
I
pretty much call it stock.
I think the problem is more that it's not that the OS is going to be different; it's that the apps aren't going to be there. That's why Windows OS.
Oh yeah,
is that they won't have any of the apps on it, and no one will really want to develop on it because it's just one singular platform and doesn't have as much market share as apps.
True.
How are we going to market share?
How are we going to see Kyle's Snapchat stories on?
I don't think. I think Huawei is smart enough that they'll develop an OS that, if an app works on Android, it will work on the Huawei.
I mean, the very base of Android is open source.
Mm.
But that's that could be years old. They don't.
Yeah, but all they need is for the apps to be supported.
But
that's all they need.
Yeah, but the apps, the apps that are non-Google and stuff that are not using Google services, they most likely will be fine. It's the issue with YouTube or Gmail apps, how Google's apparently going to cut all Google services as well to Huawei. So how will those actually work?
Internationally, that's pretty shit. I think for China, they'll be fine.
Well, China doesn't use YouTube, right? They
Exactly.
don't have-
Exactly. Well, I think the China market they'll be okay.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like for the international market, like YouTube itself, YouTube and Gmail, like some of the biggest platforms out there, and everyone has that on their devices at the moment. And if a Huawei can't use those services, I don't quite understand how they can block the use of YouTube and Gmail per se through apps. I don't know if that's a
I don't know.
Region locking.
yeah. Is,
Each
IP
device will
ban.
have a device ID, and they just like
Lock it.
block the ones with a specific device ID. I would presume.
right.
I
So
feel like
even-
that's really costly.
Yeah,
go
I mean,
through.
like, could you not then could YouTube still be then watched through the browser on that device? Could Gmail be accessed through the browser on those devices?
Oh, for like future phones, right?
Oh, even current,
Cause-
like, so
cause-
that's one of the major
like-
issues with the current Huawei
Because
phones.
I
at the
thought
moment.
current is fine.
Oh,
From what I
for-
heard, is like safe.
So the current phones currently they're fine up to that 90-day period, right? After
That's just
after
no
the
support
90
afterwards.
Yeah, so after that, Android will pull the support, and they'll also cut off the services. So after that
Oh.
90 days period, there may be a really fuzzy period for Huawei users.
Yeah.
Have they shown any of the like anything about the new OS?
No, not yet, but they've said that they're definitely releasing one. So
So
they're-
they've just said stuff. They haven't actually shown
yeah,
anything.
but like what that confirms is that they're not planning on trying to fix ties with like Android, so there's not really a chance of Android coming to Huawei again.
I don't know about that one because it's U.S. politics. It's not Android, right?
It's not Google. Google doesn't want to. They have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and-
And I mean, at any point, I mean, with the way U.S. politics is going, this could fly right over and nothing happens.
That's true. But Huawei is kind of
I don't
also
think
taking-
Huawei cares.
Yeah, like the guy
I
literally
think they
is-
do, mate.
No, like they've made their decision.
Yeah.
They were committed to making this operating system before this happened.
Yeah. And literally, like, there's a news report came in. Huawei CEO literally just said they don't care that about the $30 billion revenue hit it will have from this ban.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
I'm
I
sure they
care.
don't care.
Yeah.
but like they said, like they've literally been preparing for this. So like they knew this was going to happen. Android's going to cut off all their part manufacturers will also cut ties with them.
I think
Um,
that's the bigger hit than the operating system. Is the
parts.
manufacturing process.
I mean,
Oh.
they're losing.
They're
all
not
that.
going to have access to, the Qualcomm or the Snapdragon or
Yeah.
any of those kind of components
And
or
it-
all their
And remember,
What
Huawei
did they
doesn't
come
just
up
make
with?
phones either, right?
yeah.
They make
So with their
laptops and-
laptops, right? They make some pretty decent laptops that's high in the market.
Well, I think their networking gear is even a bigger
Yeah.
part of their business.
That
Yeah,
5G
but
rollout.
If you don't have, if you have a laptop that's not an AMD or Intel CPU, then
Mm.
what kind of laptop is it? Is there a laptop that doesn't have an Intel or AMD CPU? Because they're both American.
I mean, I haven't
manufacturers.
heard AMD cutting ties. I know Intel's cut ties with them, but I haven't actually heard.
Yeah, but if AMD is an
Maybe
American
elite.
company, they have to
They have to leak.
apply to the law changes as well, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
So if they both have to cut ties and Huawei's laptop market is completely gone, they can't make any. If they don't have a
Like
processor, they
CPUs.
can't make a laptop.
They have their own
Yeah.
processors.
That is true.
They have
Yeah.
the Kirin.
The Kirin ones on the mobile devices, but what about laptops, right?
I mean,
don't
they're pretty
think-
powerful. I'm sure they could adapt it or some shit.
I
It's
mean,
just
like,
the cost stuff and finding parts.
And then Nvidia chips as well.
Yeah.
out of a lot of the company, like the large companies out there, I think Huawei has it. Like, they have the, what do you call it, the budgets and the money if they want to develop their own components. I reckon.
Would it just be like getting those resources? Would it be the issue?
I mean, China manufactures most of these components, right?
Do
It's
they?
just-
Well, I don't think it's a lot of. I don't think a lot of it's actually manufactured in America. Like, it's designed in America, but then made in China and for like mass production stuff, right? Cheap labor.
I guess, yeah. That's where they can just like rip off their stuff,
Yeah.
go to the factory, find out how they make their chips. Yoink!
Or like China.
My
Well-
chip now.
That's not legal, but yeah.
I mean, on like
But it's
on a politically, like China's looking at this as like it's like insulting, right? Like they're kind of, this is one of the biggest manufacturers in China, and they've dissed them out. So China's looking at this like they might stop manufacturing stuff that AMD and Intel are asking Chinese people to make. So that might also have another hit on the overall market.
Yeah.
You see,
Kinda
when it
sad
gets to
to
that,
see.
when it gets to that point, it's someone's gonna step in. Like this is a huge like global economic crisis
who's
at that
gonna
point.
step? Like, who's gonna step in there? Like both countries are quite adamant on like not giving in to each other, right?
I think
Well,
the US will give in.
yeah.
Because the whole thing about this is like the US wants to maintain the US economy, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty much the global economy.
They apparently don't care about other countries. I'm not going to get into the politics.
Yeah.
They want to maintain the US economy, but that relies on China, building these parts, building and whatnot, because of the entire technology scene is being manufactured by China, right? At this point,
pretty much, yeah.
So if you cut ties on that, and then the technology in the US can't evolve or can't adapt, nothing's gonna happen. They're gonna crash.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that like countries outside of like a lot of Asian countries, they don't actually have the ability to do a lot of large mass production for such cheap labor, which is a fact, right? They're demanding higher pays in a lot of those other countries. So, for example, if China was to stop productions of stuff for other countries, one of the major things would be like all the Apple products will take a mess of it. They're all manufactured in China.
Yeah, they'll all double, triple in price.
Yeah.
I can't wait for my $2,000 iPhone to go to like 8K.
I thought you like
$1K
to buy a
thing,
$2,000 iPhone. Oh wait, there are $2,000 iPhones.
Yo,
there's phones
that cheese grater is gonna be hella expensive now.
I mean, I don't think the manufacturing cost is that much.
Well, probably won't be. It's just the markup will probably go up.
I mean, the initial
supply demand
cost a lot, but once the manufacturing comes in, I don't think it's gonna be as expensive.
Adding up, like if you were to build a PC, I think Jesse was mentioning to me before, if you were to actually build a PC with those same parts, the price isn't actually that different. Like from like if you were to actually buy the parts off the shelf and then build your own one, they aren't actually
and then it will be like optimized and whatnot.
Yeah.
With the Apple one, so
it
might be a fair deal.
Yeah, I mean that was one thing with the Huawei OS that really stands out to me, is that they could do like the iOS kind of thing, and how like Android is spread across all sorts of devices, so like it's not really exactly optimized for all devices, right? But like iOS is specifically optimized to Apple device. Like they can make it specifically. They have a set range of devices and they can make it specifically for them and make it run the best on those. And if Huawei can do that with their own devices, like you can clearly feel, like if you use an iOS device, you can clearly feel a difference, like a snappiness and like how the operating system feels compared to like a Samsung phone where they have the touch wheels on it.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that, to be honest. I don't think it makes much of a difference at this point in 2019.
I guess.
Like top end is top end. You're not gonna.
I mean, I still feel it in the Samsung, whatever they're putting on top of Android. It still feels laggy and glitchy to me when I come off an iOS device.
I mean, that's what I was saying before. It's like, I feel like now, like, of course it can be faster, but it doesn't really matter. Like, I don't really think it matters at this point.
I mean, another way that Huawei could do it is somehow introduce some sort of game-changing feature, like
what's left?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there isn't much of a, unless they have some sort of real creative feature that they can implement in the OS.
Some real solid spyware.
I mean that's another thing. It's like I don't get the whole accusation of the.
It's because they're tied to the Chinese government.
Yeah, but then again, all your Android phones as well are tied to the American government, right? I mean.
No, but
Google takes all your data.
But America good, China bad.
Yeah. No, but Huawei has ties with the Chinese government. Google does not.
It was already proven that they don't directly
That doesn't change Trump's mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Nothing
thing.
changed. Josh.
But then it's also like, I mean,
Trump has a mind.
Oh come on,
Come on, man. Let's not get political.
Oh shit! I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Let me see. I'll see the door. Hold on.
What happens
Just
when-
making like the cutthroat things. Stop talking about it.
What happens when non-Americans start talking about American politics?
That's on the- that's
I'm not
on-
educated enough on that subject to
That's
say
You get the
anything.
Chinese government treatment.
That's on the late night podcast, bro. That's on the late night. But yeah.
8:45's pretty late, dude.
Yeah, the SHAQTALKS political podcast.
Comment down below if you want to see that. No,
Nothing informative to say. I love Jacinda.
5 people from New Zealand who have very little knowledge about any kind of politics, let alone American one.
Oh man.
Okay.
Dude, you'll get docked so quick.
Yeah.
I mean,
You hit the platform so hard.
it can trigger a lot of people, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how you get triggered by fucking five misinformed dudes
I mean-
spouting shit.
The first podcast
know.
on I don't know, Ryan, if you remember that, we talked about Apple versus
Yeah.
Google sort of, and there was a comment on that video from an American. What was it? Is it Republican or?
Why do you have
Yeah,
to
yeah, I
single
remember.
this poor dude out?
And he, well, I'm not. I mean, he told us some interesting things. Hey, he brought
Shit.
some political stuff into it. So
Political.
Politics.
It was like the snowflakes buying all the Apple's products or something.
yeah, and yeah, that was interesting. I mean, if the audience wants it,
The one person wants it.
if the audience wants it, I'll think about it.
Great point.
All right, boys, let's start commenting on the Shaq podcast, saying we want it.
You want it?
Okay.
I'm not gonna be part of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just want to listen to.
mean,
I don't need a future employer looking at this shit and going,
Hmm.
Oh, don't worry, no one will see it.
Wow. I mean, anyways, we'll go off the politics for a bit. Not this podcast.
Okay.
So bring it back to the Huawei thing. Do you think Huawei will be able to continue, and will they be able to make comeback in the international market? Yes. or no?
China never fails.
Well, okay. Yeah,
China number one.
China number one.
I think China. They have one of the biggest chances of pulling off something new. So I think.
As a Chinese man, Keenan, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah.
I love my government. No, I think Huawei's fine. They'll be
Okay.
fine.
They'll be fine.
I think shit will blow over or something. I don't know.
Okay. You think this ban will be lifted and it'll be all back to normal?
I don't know about that, but like, they'll be okay.
I mean,
I don't want them to succeed, but yeah.
The thing is, like,
Whoa.
once Trump's not in government, will they lift the ban?
I hope so.
I mean,
'Cause
but
that was just dumb.
that's still like how long is that? Half a year? That'll be at least half a year. Over.
Oh, we don't
It's
know
to
when
the
I
end
don't
of
know when it is.
2020.
Oh,
That was
okay.
the end.
That's. I mean, if you're waiting that
So
long,
one
won't the
and a
damage be
half.
done?
Yeah, you
Like a
could probably
big
still
comeback.
mint something, but I don't know.
I mean, we're assuming that.
On assumption they want to fix something, and they haven't fucked it too hard.
I mean, like Huawei always have that option to just stop international, like, because they have a huge customer base. Like the most of their revenue comes from China itself, like their products and their.
They'll lose to Xiaomi at the end of the day.
They already have like their own OS in China, and they have their products there are booming. So like they could just cut off from the international market and still be alright, I reckon.
Highly doubt.
China's
Yes.
just a huge market on its own. Though.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
I mean, Jesse, you know how? So you own a Huawei phone, right now.
Hmm.
What will you do if come after the 90-day ban, Android officially cuts ties, and you lose Google services? So you have, I'm guessing, limited access to YouTube and Gmail. and you are forced to go over to Huawei OS,
Right.
will you be happy with that with your phone, or would you be looking to get a new phone at that point?
I mean, I'll just deal with it until that phone dies. Like, it's not the biggest deal.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, I've kind of just accepted that.
Right.
I'm not going to be upset about it.
Doubt.
X.
I mean, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?
I mean, like, what
Buy a
if
new
it's a
phone?
really average OS? Like, what? Because remember, like, they haven't had that much time to make it, so there is a high chance that it can be a very.
How do you know? They were planning this in advance, dude.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
You know, like, I don't think it's.
But I
I
still
think it's
don't
been
think
in
it's,
production for
like-
a while.
Yeah, maybe. Because like there was there has not been any mentions of like betas, beta versions or anything that have been
Yeah.
released or anything yet. So,
This
I
is
mean,
like key, eh?
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Like, if that happens to my phone, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
I do remember them, Consumer NZ discussing refunds.
That was a thing.
That
so
was a thing. If that's possible, then
that
I don't see why
becomes
not.
confusing if Huawei do release their own OS though, because in theory your device is working.
no, it's not. It's not working as advertised.
I mean, it's
right?
working as how Huawei intended to though.
But that's not what's advertised.
I mean, what was advertised to you?
I mean, what is advertised and what is intended are two different things.
Yeah, but was the Android OS with Google services a main advertising point for the phone
It
itself?
was advertised. It has the Android icon on the box.
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
'cause
So you'd go, I expect this to have
Android.
Android.
Okay.
Yeah, but then that brings a whole new debate of software, right? Software always changes.
Yep, that is true. Technically,
So-
Android
so-
keeps changing.
So you buy.
Yeah, but it's still Android.
I mean, no, but there's. I can't think of the top of my head, but there's be a lot of cases where you buy one piece of software and it changes to say another. Right? Or it
Okay, so
changes
if
everything.
you bought an Android phone and it came with iOS, would you like that's not what you were promised?
I guess.
I mean, so
But if it came with a different like if it was advertised to have Android 7 and it came with Android 8,
But-
it's still Android.
I understand that debate if you bought it brand new.
I didn't buy a brand new.
Yeah, no. I mean, you did at one point, and it had Android when you started. But now they're switching from Android to, let's say, Huawei OS.
Right.
Does that actually they've met your standards when they met the standards when you bought it, and they can't technically say that they're breaking your phone or taking
Okay.
anything away. They're just switching to a new OS. It can be considered
so-
as an upgrade or whatever.
what
they
if-
might.
Okay, take this example. You buy a NVIDIA graphics card with RTX and they say, nah, it's not ready, we're gonna pull it.
Is that what Nvidia pretty much did?
That's
Yeah, I'm like,
that's
wait,
how
Yeah,
they-
but that's not what they've not officially said. The RTX support is still there.
Uh,
It's just not as good as I think as everyone expected it to be. But it's like,
I think it'd be.
you know,
I mean,
it's like
that's,
be
but
lucky
that's
if they
it's
say
not,
something
right?
and then they pull that feature, that's
I still feel
I'm
that's
going full
different.
CGA on that, eh?
I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest. I forgot what you said before. I forgot what your argument was.
I'm
Like
just
if it went
saying,
from Android OS to Huawei
Yeah.
OS.
are you good with that?
I don't know. It depends on how good it is and how much I'm losing.
And I'm asking, like, are you good as well if you lose your Google services?
No, because I use them all the time.
Yeah.
My phone is like predominantly used for YouTube
Yeah.
and email.
Yeah.
So, you know, the two of the biggest parts of that
You'll have to
for the use of
install
my
Daily
phone is
Motion.
just gone. It's like, well, what am I going to use it for? SMS and calling people.
That's
So
The
like-
$1,000
texting.
phone for texting? What the hell, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't really see how it's going to work without Google services.
Yeah.
For like international markets,
Yeah. That's,
because you know America, us, Australia, all those countries are very reliant on Google.
Yep.
So, pretty rough.
I don't know. Yeah.
Better give me my money back.
I think if anyone can survive Google pulling their services, it's Huawei.
Yeah,
But they can't. I don't think they can do it in an international market. Like, what do you do on your phone without American affiliation, especially Google services.
Oh, what?
Like they're just suggesting at the moment Google, but that could extend to Facebook and Twitter and all these American companies, right? So what do you do with your phone? Like, what do you do on your phone at that point?
You play auto
Yelling at
chess.
me.
As you might as well just get like the phone, like the Telecom R100, and that's all you have, because that's basically all your phone can do.
Pretty fucked at that point.
Yeah, you're gonna be getting bloody Game Boy emulators and playing Pokemon.
Hey, what's
Oh,
wrong with that,
wait.
man?
That's all Keaton does.
What the what? I don't have that on
That's
my
about the
phone.
only cool thing you can do. So
Uh.
yeah, I don't see how
Hell.
they could do anything about that.
If I can't play Pokemon Go on my phone, what point?
Like, it's not like if they got YouTube, even if they made their own YouTube, it's not gonna have any of the content that you would expect to have.
Mm.
So I just realized that I spent $1,100 on a phone and it might not work. It's starting to hit home, you know.
Yeah, it's creeping up on you, man.
So
Very scary.
I mean that would genuinely suck if I get a refund in Ace's new phone, but as long as they let me keep the free headphones I got with it.
No, you have to.
Hey there, guys. Shaq from SHAQTALKS here. This is a bit of a different recorded ending than I actually had planned from the original podcast. We had a bit of an audio issue mid-podcast here, so we've kind of lost the audio for the next half of the podcast, which is in regards to E3. If you still want to hear about our thoughts on E3 and our opinions on E3, put it down in the comments below, and we might re-record that at some point, or revisit, maybe have a games topic or whatnot. But apologies for that abrupt ending in the short podcast here, but hope you enjoyed what was delivered to you, and as always, I'm one, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.